Now let's work on the data classes that will need to represent the resource. So I'm gonna switch over to the terminal and start with creating model class. Along with this class, we're also going to create factory, migration, and seeder. Text table is going to be pretty simple. It is only going to have one additional column called name to store the tag name. So let's add this column definition inside this create text table migration. And now to populate this column with random data, I'm gonna switch over to tag factory class, and right here let's describe the logic, how we're going to fill in this column. I'm gonna reference faker object and simply pick a random element from the following array. Every time we're gonna call this factory, we're about to get random element from this array that will be assigned to the name column of the text table. So let's also not forget and add an entry for this tag seeder inside of database seeder class right here within this array, since when we'll call db seed artisan command, we need all these seeders to be executed. And now I'm gonna switch over to tag seeder and create data array right here that will be used to populate text table. I'm going to fill in this array with some random data. Each entry in this array is going to have only one key, name, that represents every record in the text table. And now let's use this array inside of this run method. First of all, before we execute this seeder, I'm going to truncate text table by using truncate method. And now we're gonna call the factory to create the factory object and reference sequence method. And this way we're saying that factory has to create several records in a text table based on the data from this data array. And we'll have to pass individual elements from the data array into sequence method, and that is why I'm using destructuring in here. And eventually, to execute this whole thing, let's call create at the end. I forgot to call count function right here, since we need to get amount of elements inside of data array so that the factory will know how many records we want to create. Switch over to course controller, and in here, besides getting courses from the database, we're also going to fetch all the tags by using tag model. And then let's pass this text array further into the template along with courses. And now I'm gonna open up index.blade.php. This is a template which represents index page for courses. And right here we'll need to pass that text array into filter component in order to show all the text from the database. And just because every element from this text array is an object with the name field, we'll have to reference this field to properly show the names. And now let's try it out and recreate the database by running migrate fresh command with flag seed in order to populate database with dummy data. Everything went well, and in the database we can see the new text table populated with random data. And all those texts that we are seeing in here are actually shown on the page. At the end, I'm gonna switch over to course factory and change the way how we reference faker object, since in multiple places of the application we're referencing faker object by simply using fake global function. Let's do so right here. And actually, as you can see, those two variables, hours and minutes, are no longer used at all. So let's just remove these two lines and finish the lesson. Link to the source code will be in the video description.